With trembling hands, Tenny uncorked the small bottle and watched as the blue light seeped into her mother's forehead. Slowly, her mother opened her eyes. She called out Tenny's name and screamed that she can remember everything now. In the heart of Ajay Kingdom was a curious girl named Tani. Too curious, her mother always said. She asked why the river whispered at night, why the stars seemed to dance, and why grown-ups looked away when she spoke of her dreams. But her questions only deepened when her mother fell mysteriously ill. She would wake screaming, forgetting who or where she was, and the village healer could not do anything. Instead, the village healer insinuated that it was the cause of a stolen memory, but only the spirits can return what has been taken from her mother. That night, as the full moon rose, Tani overheard the two village elders discussing about a mysterious market that opened that night. One said that he would even trade his shadow in order for him to become young again. Tani's heart raced. The market. She has heard the tales but never believed them. If the spirits sold memories, then surely they could return what had been taken from her mother. Tani sneaked out of her hut in the night, clutching a bag of coins and a pendant her mother had given to her, a charm to ward off spirits. The moon lit her path. Though she did not know where she was going, her feet moved as if it was by magic, guiding her through the dark forest until the trees parted, revealing a glowing, beautiful market. The night market of Ogunwa stretched farther than she could see, filled with strange people. Lanterns of blue fire floated overhead. Merchants with elongated faces and eyes like polished stones called her to come and buy things like dreams, laughter, and whatever she desires for the future. Tenny moved cautiously. Different things she saw in the market made her eyes wild, and she became so scared. She saw things like a woman weaving silken memory into a tapestry, a man selling shadows in a glass jar. A boy ahead of her traded his voice for a golden flute that could play on its own. In her mind, she murmured that the boy was so foolish to have traded her voice for just an ordinary flute. At the center of the market, Tenny met a figure called the keeper. He was tall with no face. His voice echoed like the thunder trapped in a jar. The keeper welcomed Tenny and asked her what she has come to trade. Tenny hesitated to speak and later replied that she seeks her mother's memory back. The keeper's laughter sent chills through her bones. A stolen memory is not easily returned, said the keeper. What will you trade for it, little girl? Your shadow, your joy, perhaps your name? In Tenny's mind, giving up her name was just a simple task. She clutched her pendant, considering giving up her name. But the keeper replied that a name is such a powerful thing, and that without a name she will be completely forgotten, but her mother will be healed. At this point, Tenny has changed her mind, asking the keeper whether she can offer anything else apart from her name. The keeper quickly replied that she could trade her shadows for her mother's memory. Tenny looked down. Her shadow stretched long under the lantern light, alive and loyal, always with her. But for her mother, she whispered, I accept. The keeper stretched out his long hands. With a snap of his fingers, Tenny's shadow peeled from the ground, struggling like a living thing, being sealed into a glass jar. Tenny's gasped. She felt lighter, hollow somehow, as if a piece of herself had been cut away. This is your payment, the keeper said. They had a small bottle. Inside is a shimmering blue light. This is a stolen memory. Do not break it before you return home. As Tenny turned to leave, she noticed the other merchants watching her with strange smiles. The keeper's voice followed her, soft and cruel. He told Tenny to remember that the market always takes more than it gives. Tenny raced home as the mother still lay still and pale as always. With trembling hands, Tenny uncorked the small bottle and watched as the blue light seeped into her mother's forehead. Slowly, her mother opened her eyes. She called out Tenny's name and screamed that she can remember everything now. Joy filled Tenny's heart, but when her mother embraced her, she hesitated and asked her where her shadow was. With a trembling voice, Tenny looked around. The morning sun was rising, but where her shadow should have been, there was only emptiness. She shivered, feeling the hollow space inside her. Years passed, and the villagers spoke of Tenny with both awe and fear. They said she was clever, but that her eyes saw too much, as if she knew things others could not. Some claimed they saw her shadow walking in the moonlight. But no matter where Tenny went, she knew one truth: the night market of Ogunwa had given her her mother's memory at a price she could never repay. And on the night of the full moon, when the wind whispered through the trees, she heard the voice calling, "Come back, shadowless one, the market awaits you." Tenny woke up to whispers. Shadows stretched unnaturally across her walls. From the corner of the room, a voice like the keeper's hissed, "The market always takes what is due." A shadow figure stretches across the room, beckoning on Tenny to follow it. The girl's figure whispered to her from the wall. Tenny was scared and she used rubber to cover herself. She woke up the next morning sitting outside her hut at sunset, looking at her shadowless feet and thinking on what next to do. When the night came, Tenny followed her shadow back into the dark moonlight forest. The night market appeared again. At the middle was the keeper standing and waiting for Tenny. This time he requested for Tenny's name, but Tenny refused and clutched the powerful pendant gifted to her by her mother. She refused to trade anything again for her shadow. Tenny grabbed her pendant and smashed it on the ground, releasing a bright burst of light that blinded the keeper. Tenny followed the collapsing market, carrying a jar containing her shadow. While she ran out of the market, she smashed the jar and her shadow got back to her body. She raced home. When she got home, she stood in front of her hut, feeling whole but haunted by the whole thing.